Hi everyone, I'm attorney Michael Eline, and today I woke up and I was going to go to the gym, but I decided, I'm too sore from working out the other day, so I'm going to come on over here to my office and do a video because I keep getting all these calls from people who are just confounded as to why a lawyer won't take their case. So I wanted to sort of explain some things to you for a general personal injury case. I've done videos about the top 3 things to do after a car accident, for example. But this is going to be more of a generalized video about the main 3 things you need to be concerned with in any injury case and how to deal with that situation. The first thing you need to understand is the insurance company is not your friend, okay? They just aren't. The insurance companies don't want you to know what's in this video, okay? They want you to not do any of the things that I'm going to tell you need to do. And these are 3 really important things that you need to understand. And these things are going to help you possibly protect your friends, your family members, and other people who you might know or care about. So they don't have to go through what a lot of my callers are going through. Dejected, trying to figure out, why won't a lawyer take my case? I was hurt, I was injured, what's going on? So I'm gonna kind of tell you what's going on so you'll sort of get my drift and why this is so important for all of us who have families, for all of us who have people we care about, who get taken advantage of and end up permanently injured and paying for it out of their own pocket. Not just medically, but suffering every day, paying for it that way. The bottom line is, if you don't do these 3 things that I'm telling you to do, you could be one of those callers trying to figure out why no one's calling you back, not understanding anything that's going on, totally confused, and that's not something I want to have happen to you. So these 3 things are hopefully gonna clear the air, and if you've made the mistake of not following these 3 things and not been able to find a lawyer to take your case, take these things to heart and make sure it never happens to anyone else you know. So in this short video, I want you to make sure to watch it to the end. Whether you've been involved in a car accident, whether you've suffered a traumatic brain injury, a burn injury, whether you've slipped and fallen or were hit in the head by a flying object, believe it or not, in LA, a lot of people get hit in the head by flying objects. It's a crazy thing. It's one of the biggest types of accidents there are. I mean, think about how that could happen. I mean, a pallet could fall down on your head at a Home Depot. You could have something fly off, a tire fly off of a city truck. So there's all kinds of crazy things you need to be prepared for. There's a lot of people out there in the personal injury profession who don't really know what they're doing. These are people who just sign up cases and try to settle them for whatever they can. Hey, come sign up with me. I'll get you a lot of money. You're gonna be my good friend. And then you never hear from them again. You try calling them. The staff doesn't do anything to help you. They don't call you back. And you're just dejected. So there's a lot of different things that are going on here that you need to be concerned with. I focus on accident cases, so I'm an expert in this profession. And when I got involved in this profession, I had been injured very badly in a rollover accident off Santiago Canyon Drive in Anaheim Hills, and I could have very easily lost my life. I've always remembered the interactions that I had with the attorneys and the insurance companies, and it was just a horrible experience all around. I felt like the attorneys were very arrogant and they really didn't understand me, almost like they'd spent their whole life in school and they didn't understand how to deal with regular people who have regular jobs. And a lot of lawyers won't take the time to tell you these things for God knows why, but I'm gonna share some of these secrets because no one's really sharing them. And I really want you to hear me out and take it to heart. Along with my expertise, I have a vast network of healthcare experts that I work with, doctors, life care planners, all types of experts. You've probably been in a really difficult position after your accident. You're probably seriously injured. You're laid up in a hospital or in bed and you really don't know what to do. Naturally, you want to call your insurance company, probably want to talk to an attorney. So I want to just get into what those top 3 things are that I think are really important. From my perspective as a lawyer and as a regular person who knows a little bit about this industry. 1, get a lawyer. Obviously, you need to get an attorney, but you don't know what to do. Like, who the heck do I call? There's so many good marketers now. You see billboards everywhere. You don't really know anything about these people. You know how easy it is for people to fake reviews and have their friends and family members give them positive reviews. So you just don't really know what's real and what's not. That's a real problem right from the get-go, because some lawyers aren't going to tell you what you need to do right after an accident. The first thing I try to do is tell all my clients these 3 things. Get a lawyer. Get a good one who you feel comfortable with. If you like your lawyer, that's a good thing. But now, do you trust them? Well, how do you know if you can trust them? Well, unfortunately, you usually don't know until after you've already signed up your case because they're on their best behavior waiting to get that ink to paper. They don't ever really tell you that you have the right to get out of your contract with them and get another lawyer if you're not happy with them. Usually, they don't say anything about that. So you need to understand that some of these people are going to turn off all their happiness and magic once you sign on the dotted line. You don't want that. You don't want your file to be sitting in a corner somewhere not getting worked on. I never would want to hire a lawyer who takes on a lot of cases. That's the first thing that I would be concerned with. If it looks like it's a mill who have a lot of TV ads and radio jingles, that means they're signing up a lot of cases, and they're probably having to take on cases other offices wouldn't take because it's just too much effort for too little reward fuel the business. But because they have such huge millions of dollars in marketing expenses, they've got to get whatever they can. And sometimes that may mean settling a case quicker than you should, or not putting enough money into the case to make it pay off, because a lot of times lawyers will spend their own money, finance the case, and then get paid back if the result is positive. So there's a lot of different things you need to be concerned with when you're hiring a lawyer, but you have to do something to protect yourself legally and financially. In another video, I'm going to get into some tips on how to find a great lawyer. You get a lawyer after you've received proper medical care. So you don't just get on your phone and call your lawyer at the accident scene, while your guts are falling out of your belly. You have to get to the hospital. You should take an ambulance, generally speaking, so you have a record that the injuries were caused by this particular accident, whether it was a slip and fall or whatever. A lot of times the store manager at a grocery store doesn't take a report, so the only record you have is your trip to the hospital in an ambulance from that location. So you got to think about these things. Remember that insurance companies, as we're going to discuss in a minute, don't want to give you money, or if they do want to give you money, they want to give you as little as possible, and that's not fair compensation. And fair compensation can only be calculated by somebody who understands how to do that, and that's a lawyer, along with their team of experts if they're any good. So, hey, one question you might want to ask them is, what types of experts do they use in their accident cases to prove damages? If they don't have an answer for you right then and there, they got to think about it. It's probably somebody who really just settles cases quickly and doesn't go the extra mile. The next thing that I want to get into is, like I told you earlier, number 2, the insurance company is not your friend, so don't talk to the insurance company. Yes, at some point, you're going to have to talk to your insurance company, right? Because your insurance contract requires you to make best efforts to resolve the claim amicably. You just have to remember that there's 2 insurance companies in a normal accident. If it's a car accident, for example, your company and then the other guy's insurance company. The other guy's insurance company owes no duty to you, so they'll lie to you, they can do whatever they want, and they can get away with it. You can't do anything about it. Courts have already made this very clear. What they can't do is unreasonably delay the investigation of a claim once a claim has been filed. Only lawyers really know these rules, and insurance companies know that most people don't know them. So don't expect the insurance companies to abide by any of these rules unless you've got a lawyer who forces them to by putting their feet to the fire. So you need an attorney who forces the insurance company to abide by California rules, the insurance code, the business and professions code, all the different statutes and ordinances that affect insurance companies and their duties to third parties, for example. Remember, you're a third party when you're dealing with the insurance company of the person or persons or company who caused the injury. So there's no duty owed to you. So don't think that they're your friend. Now, your own insurance company, not much better. They owe duties to you as a direct first party. The bad faith insurance laws would come into play in a case like that. So what are bad faith insurance laws? They're just basically laws that say your insurance company owes you a special duty of care because they're at a heightened level of understanding that you don't really understand. So because of that, they owe an extra duty of care to you, and you can sue them if they breach their duty of good faith and fair dealing with respect to resolution of insurance claims. So resolution of insurance claims, generally speaking, with your own insurance company is going to be when you have an uninsured or an underinsured motorist policy or some other type of excess or umbrella coverage that comes into play on your policy, and they owe you a duty to pay you out or pay someone else out, and they don't do it, or they don't do it in a timely fashion. So that's a little bit different. Just understand that there's bad faith laws that involve you and your own company, but not the other guy's company and you. Sometimes the other guy can assign his rights to you to go after his company if they failed to to adequately protect him, and he doesn't have any money to pay you. So there's ways around, there's ways to creatively do these things. I don't want to get too much into insurance law here. I just want you to understand that there's different types of duties owed in insurance to different types of people, and this can explain why insurance adjusters act like they're your friend when they're really not. Insurance is a way that society protects itself so that people don't take the law into their own hands and exercise what's called self-help. Back in the old days, we called it a pound of flesh, like under English common law. And so the pound of flesh is gone, and now we have a system in place, a tort law system that involves insurance that allows parties to use money to resolve problems. And you're gonna need money. Why should you have to pay for your medical bills and all that stuff that was caused by someone else? And don't think that you're suing your buddy who you slipped and fell at his house. Don't think that, oh my God, I'm suing my buddy, we're never gonna be friends again or whatever. Look, if your buddy is cool and your dog bites your kid in the face at your buddy's house, I mean, if it was me, I'd be going, here's my insurance adjuster's phone number, buddy. I have insurance. I'm so sorry that my dog bit your kid in the face. So keep that in mind too. Don't think you're being a good Samaritan, doing anything awesome by not making an insurance claim. You can always decide later you don't want to sue if it comes down to that, but lawsuits are way down the road. First, you got to go through medical treatment. If your son gets bit in the face by a dog, well, heck, he's probably going to need a surgery, a lot of treatments, maybe laser treatments or whatever to burn that scar off. Probably, vitamin therapy, vitamin E therapy, whatever it might be. It's going to cost money, and you need that money. And if it's a legit person or store owner or homeowner, they're going to offer up their insurance policy. And again, that doesn't mean you're suing them, okay? Don't think you're suing them. You're not. All you're doing is making an insurance claim, but you're going to be dealing with an insurance adjuster who's a professional, and you're not a professional. These people are professionals. It's like playing a card game with Wyatt Earp when you're dealing with an insurance adjuster. Don't think you're gonna win unless you've got someone on your side who's just as fast of a draw as him. So what you gotta do is remember, don't ever give a statement to any insurance company, yours or the other side, until you talk to a lawyer. Yes, you can call your insurance company and report the accident, but tell them, I can't discuss anything more than here's where the accident happened, here's the other party's name, I have to talk to an attorney, I've been instructed that I need to speak to a lawyer before I give any more statements about this, and I will call you back with my lawyer on the phone to answer any additional questions. Thank you so much, I'm not being difficult. That's a great way to deal with your own insurance company. The other side's insurance company, don't waste your freaking time. Call a competent and aggressive personal injury lawyer who will hustle and make the claim for you, get the proper paperwork over to allow that lawyer to insulate you and talk to them. You don't even want them to hear your voice. You don't even want the insurance adjuster to hear your voice because they are evaluating you. They are evaluating you from the get-go to see if you would be good in front of a jury or not, to see if you're a blithering idiot, or to see if you're sharp, or to see if you come off shifty, or to see if you come off dishonest. And that's going to be an impression that they use when they make their offer later. So why would you want to give them an opportunity to ask you leading questions or try and size you up? Why would you ever do that? That's why you have a lawyer come in with a shield and a sword, and you're right behind him or her, and you have that basically, here I am, I've got my counsel with me, I have my knight, where is your knight? And you meet on the field of battle, and the knights do battle. And that's what it's really all about. You have to make sure you're not adequately prepared to pull out a sword and shield and play that game and get in that ring or that arena or that jousting area with a knight who specializes in this type of warfare. So, why do I say warfare? Warfare. That's what this really is. This is a battle, and you have to approach it like a battle, as if you were in combat. You're getting hurt. You got to get triage, right? Yeah, but now you got to get to a place of safety. You can't really triage in a battle zone. You can't really deal with bullets flying back and forth, phone calls back and forth to insurance companies. What you need is a lawyer to come to your bedside, come to your hospital, have you fill out paperwork, and then go out and do that work for you so you can convalesce and get better and have that certainty that somebody is on your side fighting for you and a lot of times your family, because you might be the breadwinner. You might have a kid who's a special needs kid who no longer is getting that money from you to go to their feeding therapy classes or whatever it might be. That's all compensable damages. You talking to the insurance company could really derail that. So prior to getting the lawyer, obviously you get your medical care. So I just include that in step one. As soon as you're done at the hospital, get yourself counsel. Number two, don't deal with the insurance company. That's what your lawyer's for. Only a trained attorney can protect your rights. I mean, sometimes you have, some amazing, a pauper who's just studied law their lives and they're a one-off and they can do a better job than a lawyer. Sometimes a paralegal can go in there and represent themselves. But again, these are people who've done litigation work or they have a special quality. But the vast majority of people are going to screw their case up if they don't get medical care and talk to a lawyer first. It's like a no-brainer. So remember that. Number two, the adjuster is not your friend. They get kudos. Your insurance adjuster, both sides get kudos for paying the least amount on a claim. Why? Because insurance companies are a business and they're in business to make a profit. If you're taking money from their insurance fund to pay claims, it's no longer going to be in the bank. And they make their money in all kinds of crazy ways. Like they make their money off what's called the float. They get higher than normal interest rates on investments. They have all these great things the government gives them to make money with, but when it comes time to protecting us, in most cases, unless you have a highly trained attorney who knows how to negotiate and joust with the adjuster, you're going to have a very difficult time getting adequate compensation. It's proven in study after study that represented parties, even after they get their portion of the settlement of that pie, because everybody gets a part of it, right? The lawyer gets his piece, the doctor gets his piece of the pie, whoever the experts were, they all have to get paid out of that. Even after all that's said and done, study after study shows that the represented party gets far more money than the unrepresented party. So keep that in mind, very important. Again, the insurance adjuster is well versed in the art of manipulation. So you really don't want to deal with someone like that, especially if you're a savvy and sophisticated person, because it's going to make you pull your hair out. You're just going to be like, what did I get myself into? Where's my lawyer? The bottom line is they're going to try to be like any good law enforcement officer would be to a perp, right? Because to them, you're just a perp. You're probably lying, probably trying to take advantage of them. They got to think that way, right? Because that's just their nature, because they become venomous over the years. They become callous because they just think everything's fake after a while, or a lot of them do. There is a degree of cynicism amongst insurance adjusters that is among some of the darkest type of humor you could think of. If you've ever sat and had a drink with some of these people, they're really amazing. I would never want to do that job for a living. But be that as it may, they're really good at it. They're great at the art of manipulation, and they will do everything they can to get you to admit and confess things that may or may not even be true, because they're trying to reduce your financial compensation. That is the end game. They may even tell you, don't get a lawyer. Don't do it. It's going to mess up your case. I'm going to take care of you. Why are they doing that? A year goes by and, you're still calling them every couple of weeks and they're saying, hey, don't worry, everything's cool, man. You don't need to go to a doctor. How you feeling? Yeah, we're working on your file. Right? Year and a half goes by. Hey, what's going on, man? You said you had me covered. Oh, I did? That adjuster's not here anymore, the other one you talked to, but, based on your file, you never sent us any medical records. Did you ever go to the hospital? And you're like, well, no, the adjuster told me I didn't need to go to the hospital. He was going to give me money and not to worry about it. Oh, you never went to the hospital, really? Okay. Were you ever able to get a lawyer? No, I never tried to get a lawyer. Well, why don't you try to get a lawyer? Maybe they can help, because I just don't see any money here for you, sir. You never went to the hospital. There's no police report. My client says you're at fault. And you're like, well, wait a minute, Mr. Adjuster. Didn't the guy before you tell me, you were going to take care of me, help me out, and this and that? Well, I don't know what the other adjuster told you, sir. I'm just telling you, look, I want to help you, but I just don't see anything in here that could help you with this. Why don't you call me back in a few weeks? I'll talk to my supervisor. That's typical adjuster. Because I really want to help you, and I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Okay, great. Week and a half goes by, right? You got to hear this. This is like a typical scenario that goes down. You call up, hi, Mr. Joe Smo. How are you? How you doing? You're like, well, I just want to see if you talk to your supervisor. Yeah, I went ahead and talked to the supervisor, and I'm going to have to go ahead and, reject the claim because the statute of limitations expired yesterday. Do you know what the statute of limitations is, sir? And you're like, no, you told me to call you in a week. You told me to call you today. Oh, I did? Oh my gosh, how crazy. I didn't even notice that your time to sue expired today. And you're just like dejected, right? Well, what are you saying? I'm gonna sue you. Get me your supervisor. I want to talk to someone. You owe me a duty. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I actually don't owe you a duty, and you probably should have hired a lawyer, but I'm sorry, I really can't help you. Go ahead and have yourself a nice day. So now you're stuck, you know, you've got a dog bite on your face or a broken bone, and there's your friendly insurance company, right? The friendly neighborhood insurance company. And then the last thing that I want you, this goes without saying because I'm already telling you don't really trust the insurance company, and this doesn't always happen, but some of these adjusters are pretty sneaky and they'll offer to have you see their doctor, right? Don't fall for that, all right? It's their doctor, you know, it's almost like they're trying to give you what we call a defense medical exam before you've even filed to try to settle the claim. And they'll just sit you in there in a room with a doctor and they'll have that doctor write a report that makes you look like you are a pathological liar and there's nothing wrong with you. And that is exactly what they try and do. Don't ever accept an insurance company's recommendation for a doctor. And don't even attend a defense medical exam once you file the lawsuit unless you have an attorney with you. If your attorney sends you off to a defense medical exam without a lawyer with you to stand there and object and observe and record what's going on, I would run as far away from that lawyer as possible because that's going to kill your case. These defense medical examiners are unbelievable. That's a subject for another video. I really want to get into this a little bit more about the adjuster, all right? And then just you being a sovereign person. Don't let anyone direct your life. You be the leader of your life. You be in charge. Don't let an insurance company try to do anything to befriend you or delay you, because what they're trying to do is make sure that a huge time gap exists from the first time you seek medical treatment and go back. Their main goal to make sure that the case sucks for you and is great for them is to make sure there's a huge gap in medical care. Because obviously if you're not going to physical therapy and getting treatment, you must not be hurt, right? That's what a jury's gonna think. That's what their defense medical examiner is gonna say. It also gives them time to try and blame the injury on something that happened later. So they can try to say you injured yourself at the gym. Look, this is your last chance. Guys, this is your last chance to get compensation. So do yourself a favor. I mean, seriously, do yourself a favor. Make sure and preserve evidence also, guys. This is really important. This is a sort of maybe a fourth thing that you probably want to do, and it's just common sense. Don't sell your car. Don't sell your motorcycle. Don't leave it in the tow yard, guys. You're gonna get charged for that. You have a duty to mitigate your damages. That means you have a duty to take steps to not generate bills for yourself or someone else within reason. So if you know your car's in a storage yard and it's being charged 20 bucks a day, try to get it out of there, guys. Don't let that car leave your sight. Get pictures of it. Don't let that motorcycle leave your sight. Get pictures of it. Take pictures of the incident scene with your cell phone camera if you have to, guys. When you're at the grocery store, you slip and fall, you trip on a big crack in the sidewalk. Get pictures. Get a tape measure. Get someone out there to photograph it. A lot of times people try to fix this stuff and say there was never a problem. Believe me, it goes on. Believe it or not, this goes on all the time. People are so terrified. The problem is they don't take measures to fix things until after they've caused damage to someone, and then they try and lie about it a lot of times. So you've got to get a record. Always preserve evidence, preserve evidence, preserve evidence, pictures, notes, videotape. You've got to have all that stuff or you're never going to be able to find number one, the attorney, because without evidence, you don't have a case. You just have your word against the other guy. If nothing else, I just want you to understand that the armor of money that could be your compensation could be a very large and substantial amount. Because of this, you need to speak to a lawyer expeditiously, like from the very beginning, to make sure that you take the necessary steps, like getting to a good doctor. Hey, a lot of lawyers can actually help you find a decent doctor who specializes in the type of injury that you have, who already knows how to write reports that are persuasive to an insurance company. That's really important, because if you give the insurance company things that are persuasive, then their duty to make a reasonable settlement offer comes into play. And we'll get into that in another video, but there's a lot of things that a good lawyer can really do. There are just too many pitfalls for an unsophisticated person in this particular area of law. Even for a lawyer who does divorce law, this is not something I would recommend a lawyer do without a PI lawyer, personal injury lawyer. In many ways, it's your own responsibility to get yourself and your family back on track financially. You're gonna have lost money, you're gonna have lost time from work, you're gonna have medical bills and other things that you can't afford usually. You may not have insurance to cover these things or enough insurance to cover things. You may have deductibles or whatever you have. It's something that you have to pay for yourself. It doesn't make you a bad person to call a lawyer to help you get that money. It's yours. You just have to get it. And how much you get depends on the competency and training usually of the lawyer more than anything. The last thing I want to tell you, because I almost forgot, lawyers are looked at as, a lot of them, just jerks. And they won't tell you why they rejected your case, and you're just so bummed out because you can't find anyone to take it, and you don't even know how to approach asking someone because you're not sure like what you're saying that's causing the lawyers to run from you like you've got coronavirus. The reason why that is because lawyers have an ethical duty to not give ideas to potential clients of the potential value or not of any given case. Lawyers are not supposed to make a statement or opinion on the efficacy or value of your case. So even when we send reject letters to people, we say, this is not to say that we have formed an opinion as to the efficacy of your case or the value or what you're gonna get out of it. And they're doing that because of their ethical duties. Because if they told you, hey, I think you got $1 million case here, and then you got $1, guess what? Legal malpractice lawsuit coming his way, right? And also it makes lawyers look really bad. The bar is trying to clean up the image, especially of personal injury lawyers, because there is that sort of history of personal injury lawyers being scumbags, you know, chasing ambulances and whatnot. So like that Danny DeVito movie, Rainmaker. So we're kind of battling that. Speaking for myself, I don't chase ambulances, but I do care about people, especially people with kids. And I always think about that. You know, what would I do if I didn't have great insurance and a knowledge of how to navigate an accident claim if I was really hurt? Because let's face it, every time you step out of your house, you could get hurt. Thanks for watching. I wish you a happy and speedy recovery. And I hope to God that you're not one of those people who screwed up their case by not getting medical care and not speaking to a lawyer and instead falling prey to the insurance adjuster, the wolf in sheep's clothing. The proverbial wolf in sheep's clothing is the insurance adjuster. Don't forget that. So look, in closing, I want to thank you guys for watching. When I got up this morning, you know, after hanging out with my kids for a little while, I just said, you know what, man, I'm gonna skip the gym and just come on down and do a really cool video and try to get it out there to other people who've been in a similar situation so they can at least tell their friends. And I recommend that you share this video with your friends and family members if you think that this information could be useful. From now on, when people call me and they're confused, I'm gonna refer them to go to my YouTube.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna